welcome to the How to Spark Success series. I'm Liz Hamlet from Spark Succeed, and this is where I have conversations with successful and savvy business owners, and hopefully we learn some of their success secrets. So today I'm really honoured to have joining me from Sydney, Edward Zia. So hi Edward, thanks so much for joining.
Oh, Liz, it's an absolute pleasure. I just want to say thank you to you, our beautiful viewers. And Liz, I should tell everyone this. You're up at 4:30 a.m. your time, aren't you, to do this interview?
Yeah, this is dedication. This is how much I wanted to get you on the series.
Well, you know what? The fact that you're going to get up at 4:30 a.m. means you've got what it takes to be successful, obviously.
Fantastic. So I'll just do a quick intro, and then I'm going to ask you to tell us a bit more about your background and your success journey. So Edward, so you're a marketing mentor and master coach. You founded Excellence Above Coaching. And you're also, one of the things that how I got to know about you is you're a MeetUp city organizer in Australia, Sydney particularly, and you've worked with some amazing firms. So that was why I was so keen to get you on. So just to name a few, so Microsoft, LinkedIn, WeWork, MeetUp, and also the Australian government. So Edward, do you want to tell us a bit more about yourself?
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. And in short, I'm a marketing mentor and master coach. And my wife and I, Lassie, who also works in our business, we help people globally become master persuaders and influencers. And it's all based on, at the end of the day, someone was saying this to me the other day, Ed, you don't actually mentor or coach people. You just tell people what you do and they go and do it and make a stack of money. And I thought, yeah, I don't actually. I just tell people what I do. They do it and it kicks butt. So yeah, it's been great. And yeah, it's been an absolute privilege. And I was going to say again, if you're watching this video, you're very attractive and beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll pay you later. So one of the things that I was really interested in is sort of your work. When I came to your webinar, I was really sort of struck by your positivity, your energy. You know, you bring together, when we can meet, you know, your meetups are super popular in Sydney. But I know particularly, you know, your background, you were in the military and you've been doing some interesting things. So just want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm actually a very, very old man. I'm a very, very old guy. So a very long time ago, over 20 years ago, I used to be in the Australian Army and it was awesome. I got injured very badly. So I used to do a lot of like sort of, you know, secret squirrel, black ops sort of stuff. Anyway, I got injured very badly on a bad drug operation and I almost died. That really ended my, beyond ending my career, also ended me. So that threw my life in a very different direction. I was looking at becoming a government agent. That was my whole career path that just evaporated very quickly. And in my life, I had a few very, very good years of being very successful in the Australian corporate life after going to uni and all that. However, and this sort of brings me to more modern day, I got really sick from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, in my late 30s. And a lot of you people know this. PTSD can often hit you later in life, so you can sustain very severe injuries. You can have a few good years, but about 5-10 years later, a lot of people go completely pop, and I was one of them. So it resulted in me sort of losing everything. I couldn't work anymore, and I wound up homeless, you know, living out of my car. And that sort of started the new journey, which brought me to this awesome point today.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's such a, you know, regular story for people coming out of the military. You know, like you're saying, it's sort of a delayed impact, and it can be sort of when you least expect it and you're sort of moving on and, you know, that it can hit you.
And that's what kind of threw me off my chair, because when I recovered from my physical injuries, I actually felt all right. I had some problems. I wasn't completely fine, but I was living fine. I was sort of like, okay, I've got a few issues. Okay, I've got the odd anxiety panic attack. Okay, I can handle that. But what happened though was after about 5 years, it was sort of like the boogeyman came out of the closet. All my symptoms went from light to extreme in a very, very short space of time. When I was about probably 28, 29, and I got really, really sick. And again, even though I did a good job of what I was doing in my workplace, I was very sick all the time. So it was sort of like, wasn't coping. And I wasn't doing well in life. And basically a bad chain of events and also bad decision making on my part took me from a very successful six-figure guy to a guy living in his car, right? So I literally became, when I fit, I literally became the homeless veteran living out of his car, which I did not expect to see that out of all things. And that was a great chance for me to really hit the reset button in life. And again, come back today. So crazy, crazy journey. Awesome, Liz.
And I think, that story of sort of how you've sort of gone from, being successful in a totally different career to, being homeless and, struggling with PTSD and then back again. I think that sort of really adds to your power of, you're talking about sort of bringing influencers and persuaders together, and the fact that you sort of lived through this and sort of rebuilt and, are working and supporting people. And is that, would you say that's sort of one of the things that you really wanted to do when you sort of reconsidered everything?
Well, on a funny note, before I knew what the word coaching meant, I've been coaching my whole life. So wherever I've worked in life, I've always gotten promoted. Okay. I've always been put in charge of people. So I used to pick fruit on a farm when I was 14 or 15. And after a while, I was training new staff members. They wouldn't pay me any extra. They say, hey, Ed, here's such and such, show them the ropes. Okay. I then worked in Australia. We have this is before I joined the military. We had a supermarket called Woolworths, right? I don't know if it's in the UK. And I used to work in the dairy section, like, doing all the yogurts, fruits, meats, and that sort of thing. And what would happen is that after a while, they'd be, oh, yeah, could you train this new staff member, right? So wherever I went, I'd always wind up becoming a supervisor, no matter what I do. And even people have made this running joke. They said, Ed, if you went homeless again, in 6 months, you'd be running the homeless camp, taking bribes from the government. And I thought, I so would, actually. The point I'm making is that, and what I realized was, it was just, I've always been good at coaching. I was coaching people before I knew what it was. And then when I was sort of I like to compare myself to Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, but only I'm not that cool. But when I was like the homeless drifter, unfortunately, I didn't have the long hair and the big muscles and the cool jacket and the bag. But when I was a homeless drifter, I used to think about, I then kind of found that you could actually make a business out of coaching. I thought, man, that would be awesome. If I could pull that off, I'd be so happy with that sort of life. And I sort of figured out when I was a homeless guy. So I suppose I had the natural lean to coaching. And it was in my 30s when I was sort of rebuilding my life, I realized, yeah, this could be the right direction for me. I could see myself going this way. This could be the new life plan for me. And it was a good decision. It took a lot of work to get it going, and I had a lot of ups and downs, but very, very good decision making at that point in my life.
Yeah, and I know personally, when I was doing the webinars and we were sort of corresponding on LinkedIn, they're really personal approach. You send in like little video, personalized videos, for connecting people is just amazing. So what does success mean for you?
Yeah, so success for me means quite a few things working harmoniously at once. So there's a family element of success. There is a physical element, a financial element, a spiritual element, a few other things. So to me, the way my interpretation of success is overall holistic success. That is, you're succeeding in every area of your life and you're having a good, strong, stable existence. The other thing is, it's important to me as well, is also giving back to the community. So I'm a Christian, respectful of all religions and everyone watching, a Christian in what I do. So part of success as well is what impact am I having on society? So I'll be honest with you, if I went and made $1 billion, but I damaged the world and hurt people, you can take the $1 billion. I don't want it, right? So to me, having a positive impact on the world and being successful is very important. So again, having $1 billion of blood money, would it make me happy? Having $1 million of good money would make me very happy.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at the world.
Amazing. And it's probably hard because you've sort of talked about so many things that sort of led to you, being where you are today. But what do you think is the biggest factor that has led to your success now?
Yeah, without this turning into the Benny Hinn show or like a Christian conference, I'll actually say it's definitely being a man of faith. And I just want to make a quick caveat to the audience out there. There are many different pathways to worshiping the same God, completely respectful of whatever God or thinking you believe in. For me, being a man of faith in Christianity has been very important for me doing that, because it was actually that prayer and Christian thinking that inspired me to become a coach. So if it wasn't for my faith, there's no way I'd be a coach. It wouldn't happen. And, I've done a lot in the years. I've saved probably at least 100 people from committing suicide. right? And that's not my opinion. That's them saying to me, Ed, I was about to kill myself till I spoke to you. Thank you, right? So if it wasn't for that, I would have led a very, very different life and wouldn't have had the impact on the world that I think is very important.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, you know, like you're saying, it's something that, you know, you yourself have been through, sort of those tough times and sort of PTSD, you know, mental health, homelessness. I think, you know, people listen, you know, when someone has been through it themselves. So that's amazing. So in a sort of average day or week, what are your success habits?
Yeah, so what I love doing is every day I like getting a little bit of exercise, be it, you know, sort of pre and post corona, if that might involve going to the gym, or it might be just going, if I'm busy, it might be a quick set of push-ups and going for a 10-minute walk, right? But I like a little bit of exercise every day. Sometimes I can go to the gym for an hour or two, sometimes I can't, but whatever I can get in, I love. So a little bit of exercise every day I really enjoy. The second thing is consuming motivational material. So every day, and I'm quite actually firm on this, so I'll usually on YouTube, besides watching American Dad, Family Guy, and South Park, I'll watch a bit of positive motivational material. And I usually just watch it through YouTube, cool stuff through YouTube or LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's very important is putting out content. So I like to post at least 5 times a day. And that is how I've done it, because it's that regular daily content that makes you successful as an influencer, regardless of whatever industry, whatever platform. It's a regular content that makes you popular.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've seen, you know, a lot of your content, it's sort of thoughts. I also saw your press up challenge.
Oh,
like,
yes.
The Sydney Opera House and like amazing things like that. So very nice backdrop, by the way.
And now Corona's over, I'll be heading back to the Opera House, the bridge. So I'll be doing all that crazy stuff again. So stay tuned for that one, friends.
That's amazing. So if you could start it all over again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, what I think I'd do different. I get asked this. I actually ask myself this question every day too. So I was actually thinking about this question this morning, saying, "Oh, if I did it all again, what would I have done?" The direction I would not change, right? So the actual direction, I wouldn't change a thing. What I would have done is I would have leveraged myself much earlier. So when I originally got into business, and by the way, I love face-to-face networking, highly recommend it. The problem I had though was I did so much face-to-face networking, I didn't use social media as well as I could have. So this is before LinkedIn became the juggernaut it is now. This is before you could do like videos and photos on LinkedIn. It was more of a Facebook, that was when Facebook sort of had everything before everyone then moved on to other platforms like myself. What was interesting is that I did a lot of networking and I did it very well. But what I wish I did better was I wish I used social media better. So for example, I wish I posted more. I wish I put out better content. I wish I did live webinars earlier. So I'll say better leverage, because what I've learned is the more leverage you use is really the faster you grow. Because the thing is, if your business is all one-to-one, you grow you grow very slowly. If you've got a lot of leverage, you tend to have that exponential effect, which is what we've been experiencing, which has only occurred through, social media and leverage.
Yeah, fantastic. So, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received that sort of sticks in your head?
Yeah, it would be consistent. So in other words, every day you got to be consistent and be at it. And a great example I'm using is Michael Jordan, right? Not that I'm into basketball or anything, but I love Michael Jordan. I remember hearing this story about Michael Jordan, which I verify to be true, is that Michael Jordan every day would sit there at the one-pointer line and just shoot hoops like that, just over and over and over again. Nothing impressive, just sit there and shoot hoops. So it got to the point where you could probably get him drunk and hit him with a chair and he could still get a one-pointer like that. And it was that story of the daily consistency. And I had a lot of different people would talk about that same story, that trait of Michael Jordan, which I kind of felt like that kind of made sense to me, especially coming from a military background, and that the daily consistency is important. And I get told that today every day. It's like people say about my LinkedIn journey, Ed, you're the most consistent influencer I know. And case in point, if I wasn't consistent, I wouldn't be an influencer. So being consistent is one of the key pillars that's made me a successful influencer, which has allowed me to do all these other cool things.
Amazing. So, I mean, there's so many things that you've achieved, and I know sort of in the real world, you know, you were doing so many, you know, that's what, you know, one of the reasons that I sort of came along to your webinar is bringing together hundreds and hundreds of people regularly in Sydney on meetups. So obviously things have slightly changed, and I know that you're sort of very busy online as well. So what sort of over the next...
Just on that note, what's
Yeah.
interesting actually is with obviously, you know, Corona, you know, locking the world. What was interesting, and I was a skeptic. I'm a converted skeptic here. Originally, what happened was I used to run, you know, really big meetups, like face-to-face meetups across Sydney. And very hesitantly, I started running Zoom networking events. And I thought, this is dumb, this is stupid. And my second event, I had like 40 people coming and I had a stack of leads afterwards. And I'm like, this is not dumb, this is awesome. So what I was able to successfully do is transition my meetup from a local Sydney experience. And we run weekly Zoom meetups now. We get at least 40 people every time from all corners of the world. And what's fascinating about it is I actually did an interview. I actually interviewed David Siegel, the CEO of Meetup recently. And since they've now switched online, so you can now run webinars as well as face-to-face on meetups. They're now doing more events now on Meetup than they were before Corona. And me being part of it.
That's amazing. And I know, like, you know, I've seen videos and, you know, photos of all your meetups, and I think, you know, being able to sort of switch that to online, I think, you know, amazing, especially if it's sort of not only bringing people together, but it's also sort of very positive for sort of leads and new business, etc. So in the next month or two, what's new for you? What's next?
Yeah, the big things for me is I've been really going heavily in the influencer direction. So for example, every day, and really grateful for this, and thank you for being one of them if you're watching, every day I grow by 200 followers a day on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Which is awesome. I used to grow, I remember 1 week on Facebook, I once grew 50 followers in a week on Facebook, and I was like, my God, I'm so awesome. Now, if I grew 50 followers in a day, I'd be messaging LinkedIn to find out what's wrong with the platform, right? I mean, what's going on? There's a bug, right? This number can't be right. So for me, right now, my focus is building that heavy global platform, because the thing I've learned is as an influencer, the bigger your footprint you get is the more clients and powerful you become, which means you can do more. A, you become more successful, but B, you can create more of a transformation in the world around you.
So for all those, you know, 200 a day on LinkedIn is just amazing. So, you know, you're probably, you know, there's very few people I've seen on LinkedIn with 30,000 plus followers. So you're obviously doing something right. So if you've got, like, what's your sort of one tip for people to sort of increase their following on LinkedIn?
Yeah, share really good, free, powerful content. So the reason why my followers have really gone up is that over and over again, people would say, I actually ask my clients and my friends and my followers, why do you follow me? Like, why? Like, seriously, why do you buy my stuff? Thank you, by the way. Thank you. Why do you buy my stuff and why do you follow me? And I did some research. And the research came back as, they said, high level, they said 3 things in essence, is saying, Ed, it feels good watching you. Like, when I watch you, I feel good about it. I feel positive and inspired. Number 2 is you've given me great ideas for free. And when I do those ideas, they actually work, right? So my ideas have been very accurate because I'm just telling people what I'm doing. And the third thing they've said as well is that you respond. So whenever I reach out to you or say hello, you're one of the few sort of coaches and mentors that comes back to me. So, and that are the 3 things that I realized, if I want to be a really big influencer, I need to do more of that. I need to be more positive, give out more free ideas, and really be accessible to people, which I try to do as much as I humanly can.
Yeah, no, and I know, you know, I attest to that sort of getting back to people and it being a personalized message. You know, so many times on LinkedIn, you know, what you receive is either people sort of trying to sell you services and it's very much sort of cut and paste. But, you know, that really meant a lot that you had taken the time to even record just a 30-second video, you know, response, you know, and that's, you know, I can attest to that definitely. So have you got any final words for the people watching this in terms of sort of sparking success?
Well, my big advice to you is stay positive, stay consistent, become an influencer, build your platform, and really follow and listen to Liz Hamlet very carefully. She's an amazing, brilliant woman.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, Edward, and you know, fantastic journey, and you know, story is a really inspiration. So thanks so much for being on the How to Spark Success series, and wish you well for all your future ventures coming up. I'll be watching with interest.
Liz, thank you so much. And to our followers and fans, thank you for being awesome. Liz and everyone, absolutely appreciate you.
Thanks ever so much. Take care.